And this has been my kitchen. Smells like water. Of course, why would heat change the aroma of water? Well, I think to see steam as something of an aromatic thing when you're in the kitchen cooking, and something to sniff upon while you're waiting for this crap to boil. Anyway, welcome to Cooking with SonicBlu. SonicBlu Darkfold here, and tonight we have a meal for all of you that happen to be crustaceatarians. Now, we are eating a crustaceatarian meal called seafood linguine Alfredo, but since we don't really have enough linguine noodles to go around, we are substituting our linguine for fettuccine. So tonight it's seafood fettuccine Alfredo. We will also be making an alternative meal for those of you that cannot eat crustaceans or seafood of any kind, like our cameraman. I have some chicken, some nice breaded chicken that is also gluten-free so that he can eat it. And you can also make a nice chicken linguine, or fettuccine in this case, Alfredo as well. So it works on either meats. So first things first, we're going to wait for our water to boil, and in that pot we're going to be putting our fettuccine. So let's grab our fettuccine noodles, because they are just about ready to go into that water. Don't want to get any cardboard in our fettuccine. Now this pot is just perfect for boiling noodles. Look at that, it goes right across like that. Perfect size for it. Wonderful. Perfect noodles every time. Oh, there's the other box. Okay, we're just going to give this a little bit of an extra mix here. And to help that along, what we're going to do is we're going to add some salt to that. And this just helps break down all of that starch that's going to be developing in your water as it boils. For about that much water, that's how much you're looking at. A good shake. We're also going to need the olive oil. Ugh. No, it's not that bad. Just a little dab will do you. Well, that is for 2 boxes of noodles, so another dab. Perfect. Alright. Alright, now we're going to take this olive oil and... Can you imagine going through a big canister of olive oil like this at your house? We go through this stuff all the time. So over here, this is an essential size. So yeah, just let this mix in with the olive oil. Don't need to do anything else to it, but just let it boil. Okay, while we do that, we're going to reach for our crustaceans. And a lot of you are going to be saying, ew, how could you go artificial? Well, we are using imitation lobster classic. So into the boiling water it goes. We got 2 packages going in. There's your lobster. Whoa! Huh. There's your lobster classic.
Well, I didn't get hit for once. Is that real lobster, that stuff there?
No, this is also imitation crab.
Huh. That stuff looks a little better.
Since we have 2 packages of this in the freezer, I'm not guilty at all about using that entire package of crab.
I take that back. It looks like Play-Doh.
Once you open that up, once you open up your Play-Doh, what we're going to do is try to separate this a little bit, but let the boiling water first, kind of help break it up a bit. Because you really, since you're dealing with imitation crab meat, which is basically a mixture of crab and pollock And then same thing with the lobster. It's a little mix of lobster and pollock. But we're just going to let the boiling water kind of heat up, and it'll be easier to separate all of those little pieces of crab there. And you want to keep as big pieces of your imitation crab, because you probably don't have the real stuff. You probably want to keep, let the hot water do the job of breaking it up. You don't want to break it apart right away, because then your crab meat is going to be very delicate and will break apart and become little itty bitty pieces. And we don't want little itty bitty tiny chunks in our fettuccine, or fettuccine Alfredo. We want nice big sizable chunks that we can taste and go, ah, imitation crab. But that's beside the point. But one thing we will be using that is in fact real is the shrimp. So don't forget the shrimp, guys. We are going to add the shrimp, and unlike Rune in that one recipe we did like this that's kind of similar, I removed the tails from these. But in this pot we have our noodles. Okay. And in this pot we have our creamy Alfredo sauce. There it is. And you can find creamy Alfredo sauce in your local grocery store on the grocery shelves in nice little jars. That's probably about the easiest you're going to find in your Alfredo sauce. You could also make some yourself by looking up a recipe online. And since we really don't have the time, I would like to show you how to make it from scratch. But since we don't have the ingredients, the resources, or the time, I decided to just go with the jars. And, you know, it's going to be just as good. You could also make them from a pouch, and you have an instant package of Alfredo sauce that you can mix some milk with. And that doesn't come out too bad either. So that way you can control the type of milk that goes into it. If you're like a low-fat guy, non-fat guy, or you know, if you want your full-on vitamin D milk, you can choose and select which type you like. But really, all we really need... Why am I using the noodle spoon to stir that? I don't know. I'm supposed to be using this spoon because it's what I selected to break down these big pot of crustacean. Now we're going to need a lot of this stuff because, let's face it, a lot of us who love our seafood love our seafood, and I'm not kidding. So another preparation we're going to make too is we're going to need a bowl. And what this bowl is going to do is we are going to take each individual ingredient and we're going to toss them like a salad until it's nicely coated with the sauce and you get an even mix of your crustaceans. And not to mention the noodles. Okay, so what I've gone ahead and done is beforehand, I've cooked up some gluten-free noodles here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just pour some in here and show you an example of how this stuff gets tossed. And what we're going to do is, I'll just add the whole thing, and then this will be the chicken, because I had already pre-cooked the chicken, and all I have to do is pull it out of the microwave and toss it along with the sauce. Okay, this will be our tossing bowl right here. And go your chicken. I'm going to pop in some nice juicy tender chicken bites. And there we go. Okay, now bring this over here. And what we're going to do is we're going to give this a little bit of a stir here. Still got a good consistency to it. And what we're going to do is going to drizzle some sauce right over the top, just like this. A little more will do ya. Alright, place the sauce back, and what we're going to do here is we're going to take with this spoon and this, take with this spoon and this spoon, and we're just going to toss it just like this. I'm going to get a shot of this. We're just going to toss it like you would stir fry or a salad, get it nice and coated with the sauce, get your chicken mixed in really well until you got a nice mixed pasta. Got your sauce mixed in, the noodles nice and evenly coated, and this will make for an even tasting meal. Now you could just drizzle the sauce over the top, but I like to toss mine. Make sure that you get an even coating of sauce all the way through, just like that. Gonna take some of this out, spoon it on down. I'm just going to save the rest of that for later. And there you have your chicken pasta dish. We can't really call it fettuccine because that's not fettuccine noodles. Okay, none of them are sticking. You gotta make sure that these are stirred. Make sure that they don't stick because these noodles love to stick. So you just give them a constant stirring. There we go. Okay, now what to do with this? Well, since the sauce already has salt, pepper, and all the spices added to it, you can just serve it as is. But if you prefer to add extra spices, for this particular dish, especially when dealing with chicken, what I like to do is add a little bit of basil on the top, just a little tiny bit. So we're just going to add that in for color and a little bit for flavor. You don't need that much basil. And there you have your pasta chicken. I'm just going to call this chicken pasta because the noodles aren't really traditional Italian noodles. They are basically an Asian variety, but made with rice flour. But it's gluten-free, and that means my cameraman can eat it. So, what do you say we wait for all of this to cook? I'll give my cameraman a chance to eat this, and then we'll come back and I'll show you the rest of how to make our seafood fettuccine Alfredo, and you're gonna love it. Definitely want to make sure there are no leftover shells in that strainer because we had to run our shrimp, pull it out of the freezer and run it under cold water, and then we pulled our tails off in the strainer, so there could be little pieces of shell. So you definitely want to rinse out your colander before you go to the next step, and that is to drain our noodles. So we are just going to take this big old pot of noodles, drain them off. We lost a couple. That's okay. It's a clean sink. We can recover them. Okay. That's about as much as those noodles we're going to get out of that pot. The rest of them will just kind of stick around for a while. Alright, noodles. There we go. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use this spigot to drain and rinse our noodles. Now for this particular type of noodle, for this particular type of dish, it's always best to rinse your noodles with very hot water. Make sure you get all of that thick starch out of there. So there's going to be a lot of starch. And you definitely don't want that in your noodles. You want as little starch as possible. Rinse it with hot water and will it taste good. And once you got a good rinsing going, we're just going to pick it up, give it a really good shake. Try not to lose any noodles.
Some more noodles.
That's okay, it's a clean sink. And it's even cleaner now that we've rinsed a lot of hot water through it, so now it's disinfected. Ooh, hot, very hot. Very hot, very hot, very hot. Ooh. Okay, now we're just going to let that sit for a moment while I retrieve the pot. Ooh. This ought to be the hot handle show. So far, everything I've handled today had a hot handle. And there goes another dang noodle. I don't know what it is about this sink that noodles just love. Get back in there. Okay, are we ready now? Turn that off. Alright. Oh, I smell our seafood is getting ready. I smell it from here. That's when you know your seafood is just about done. So we're going to plop these noodles back into the pot. They go. Alright. And carry our noodles back. There we go. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, turn that off because we are ready to go. It kind of boiled over, but as you can see,
man. Wow, they really got bigger.
They got bigger. All right, now we're going to need to drain these off too. So, pull up your colander once again. And this time we're going to need to drain these guys. And you know how you can tell when your seafood is ready? Well, when it jumps out of the pan and into your sink. No, when you can smell it. See, crustaceans have a very distinctive aroma. When you know that they are just about done, you will smell a very pleasant aroma of the crustaceans.
If your nose works.
If your nose works.
Mine does not.
Get all of that out of there. Okay, so once these are drained, we're going to take the remainder of what didn't land in the sink, and we're going to put them back. We're batting a million today, folks. We're going to put them back. Try not to lose any shrimp like we just did there. We're going to put it back into our pan here, or our... We're going to put them back in there. Now we're going to carry the rest of the meat that we've been able to salvage right back to our stove. And now comes the fun part. We got to put all of this back together. So, let's get some plates. Now, we got our tossing bowl. So we're gonna start off with Kay's first and get this done and out of the way. She's gonna have a little bit of chicken alongside some of the seafood there, so she doesn't have to worry about getting any of the sauce in there because we already got her sauce. All we gotta do, since this is already tossed with the gluten-free stuff, so Kay is gonna be getting some of this too. So we're not really going to toss this, we're just going to take the seafood and we're just going to sort of give it to her on the side. So that way she'll have a nice gravy, because chicken really doesn't mix well with fish, so we're going to put the crustaceans on the side. So we'll just take a nice generous spoonful of crustacean, a little bit though because she's not that big of an eater, and not to forget the Parmesan cheese. Now, yeah, I know, we're Americanized. Italians would never touch this stuff with a 10-foot pole, but cheese is cheese. And we love our cheese, whether it comes in a can, whether it's fresh, whether you grate it yourself. Come on. Break the seal, yeah. According to any good Italians, they will tell you cheese does not deserve to be sealed. Unless you're curing them. If you cure the cheese, then yes, it needs to be sealed, but that's one thing. This isn't curing. Okay, sprinkle some of this Parmigiana over the top. Make sure you get it all nice and coated. What I like to do is I like to garnish with a little lemon. Yes, we're going fresh today. No, it's got Darth Vader's on them. Neat. Okay, I'm going to put this away.
It's a bed for the cat.
Is that a bed? Oh, wow, nice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Make sure this doesn't slide off. Got a tossing bowl there. I need a knife, because I can't karate chop this thing in half. So a nice small knife will do the job just nicely. If this is just the garnish, I'd like to basically just take this, give it a nice little squeeze before just a few droplets of lemon. Makes it nice and brings out the taste a little bit and enhances it. And then what I like to do is I like to give it a little twist. Put it right on the side of the plate there. And there you have it. There's that. Okay, now let's grab a fork and I will serve this to Kay. And I will show you the rest of what we need to do for our seafood Alfredo pasta. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Now what we're going to do is we're going to get all those worthless seeds out of the lemon, because there's nothing worse than having seeds in your pasta from the lemon that gets squirted. Let's go ahead and toss our noodle. Now since they've been sitting here for a little bit, I kind of want to give them a little loosening here. Okay, and what we're going to do is take a nice generous size, like that, drop it right into our tossing bowl. Go for another one. Okay, next, some crustacean. Pop that right in there. A little bit more shrimp there. There we go. And give it a good ladle of the Alfredo sauce right over the top of that. A little more. Okay, now with this and this spoon, do like we did before. We're going to just go in there and toss it. And it's best to get one that's a very, very deep bowl. And we're just going to fold it. Gently folding it will ensure that you're not going to fling it everywhere. Everything gets mixed together. And you can actually see progress that you're making instead of speeding right through it. And all in the gentle process of folding, plus your crustaceans won't fall apart either that way. Okay, just go from the bottom, pull it right from the top, fold it over, kind of nudge it down a little, and then do the same thing again. Now you notice that some of the crustaceans are running off to the side, so you just got to pull them up along with it, and then just pick everything up like this. Kind of go the opposite direction if you need to. And there you have your linguine Alfredo with seafood. There it is. Then I'm gonna take a plate and we're just gonna go from the bowl right on out. That's a lot. That'll probably be mine. I can eat all that. That is a mountain for me to enjoy.
I can't eat
Cut this lemon just one side cut so that it's like that. Give it a little squirt of lemon because I know John likes his lemon. So do I. And like before, give it a little twist. Pop it right at the end of the plate. Lovely presentation there. And for this particular meal, instead of basil, since it's got plenty of seasoning in it, we can also grab the parsley flakes and just have a little bit on the top for color. So we'll just shake a little bit on the top for color. There we go. Nice, beautiful presentation. Wow, look at the size of that mound here. Just gonna give it a nice squirt of the rest of the lemon here. Because since we're dealing with a huge mound of food, and I kind of went a little overboard, but that's okay, I can eat it, and I could probably eat a lot more. Look at all that crustacean that's left over too. So you can always find a use for all of this. If you have a lot of crustacean left over, a good suggestion is to toss it in a salad and have a nice shellfish salad. And just add some lettuce, some tomato, a little cabbage, and crustaceans. You would be surprised what you can do with those leftover crustaceans if they don't go around. Or you can just eat it by itself, even better. Okay, now that that lemon is completely dispensed into my food, I'm going to sprinkle some, actually I'm going to get some more sauce on there too, because let's face it, the sauce is too good to turn down. So I'm a saucy kind of guy, and this is too much food and not enough sauce. Should have gotten 4 jars of this instead of 2. And I'm going to top the rest of that off with a little parsley for color. And there you have seafood fettuccine alfredo. And that's the finished result. But not before I cover mine. Kind of defeats the purpose of garnishing it with parsley. I forgot the cheese. Do not forget the cheese when you prepare this, because that's a sin in most places. Most countries will shoot you if you don't have enough cheese. But there you have it. So I'm going to take this mound of food and I'm going to enjoy it, and then I'm going to figure out what to do with the rest of this stuff so that we can store it and have some more later. But for right now, it's cooking with SonicBlu. Enjoy your fettuccine alfredo, and I sure will, and you will too. So prepare it just like you saw me do right here, and you'll come away with a very delicious meal yourself. SonicBlu Darkfield here for Cooking with SonicBlu, and we have a meal going on here for you tonight in case... Yes, can I help you?
He wants to be in the movie.
It's Kitty's cameo. Alright, let's do that again. Okay. Alright, get this.
He's having a good time.
Yow, that's hot. Yow, that's hot. Oh, that's hot. Ooh, that's hot. Ho ho. Oh, ho, ho. Good thing I can handle heat. That was hot. Now, for bam. Ah! I hate it when this thing gets stuck. Okay, there we go. What the heck was that? And I will show the rest of you where to go from our... And I will show the rest of you where to go from... Take 3.
Here?
And I will show the rest of you and I will show you the rest of what we need to do for our seafood Alfredo pasta.